Good afternoon, lads and lassies. The Irish Demon here, back with another video. Today we're going to have a look at a video by Eric Dubay. The trick for today's video is trying my best to not fall asleep. It is going to be a challenge, but we will try our very best. Now, the style of this video is going to be done in the kind of live style, where I will be in the bottom corner here in just a minute. We'll have a look at the video and then we'll have a chat about it as we go along. I'll just pause it throughout and yeah, so this video is called BuzzFeed's Fake Flat Earth Theory Debunked. So we're going to debunk the debunk of the debunk. So here goes nothing. Eric Dubay and some guy from BuzzFeed.
A lot of people would have you believe the Earth is round. Well, we'll see. What is the flat Earth theory? Well, the flat Earth theory posits...
Let me stop you.
Let me stop you there, Mr. Dubay. The flat Earth theory is the stupidest thing that a human being has ever come up with. But anyway, let's hear what Dubay has to say.
The flat Earth is not a theory and doesn't posit anything besides demonstrable, empirical, objective facts.
Seriously?
For example, it is a fact, not a theory, that bodies of water always seek and find their own level.
Define level.
From a beaker, a bottle, or a bathtub, to a pond, lake, or an ocean, the natural physics of water and other liquids is to find and remain level. It is an unproven, unscientific theory with no observable, measurable, or repeatable evidence to claim that bodies of water can somehow bend, cling to the exterior of shapes, and show convexity upon their surface.
So in order for him to say that there is absolutely no empirical evidence or whatever, however he worded it, he would have to deny all of the evidence that we have. If you were to strip it back to its most basic form of evidence, which for most humans is visual, what we actually see, I would agree that from, standing right here looking out over a lake, it looks flat. But again, let's stick with the visual evidence. If you're staying visual right across the board, you look at images from space, you see that the Earth is a globe, you see the water on the Earth. So you have to then show that all of that is fake. You have to show that every single person involved in sending up those spacecraft, designing the software to fly them, the people that actually fly them, the people who, present the photographs, all of this kind of stuff is fake. Everything, every single thing, without a shred of evidence, no evidence whatsoever. There hasn't been a single person leak evidence. There hasn't been a single whistleblower. Absolutely nothing. Hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of people who are experts in this field would have to be lying. Anyway. Hey lads and lassies, just interrupting really quickly. This is future editing Irish Demon coming back to original Irish Demon to kick him in the backside for not asking you to make sure and hit that like and comment and subscribe and all that down there. But also it is my main channel, but also it's demonetized. So I've said also a lot here. I have another channel called Irish Demon Reloaded, soon to change name. That'll be linked down below. Please go check that out. I'd really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
It is a fact that the majority of Earth is covered in such level water, thus making it an unscientific theory to postulate that Earth is actually a gigantic sphere with bendy oceans curving all the way around it. It is a fact,
it's sea level, not sea curve. Again, look up the definition of level.
Theory that the horizon always appears perfectly flat, 360 degrees around the observer, regardless of altitude. All amateur balloon, rocket, plane, and drone footage show a completely flat horizon as high as we can reach, over 20 miles, or 120,000 feet up. The only time the horizon ever bends is when viewed through a fisheye lens.
Not true. The Mage, and there's a few others as well that were on some other SpaceX missions, I think, had non-fisheye lenses. As for the constant images that we get from the Himawari 8 satellite, which is directly above me, that shows curve. You know why? Because it shows the whole side of the globe that I'm on. So yeah, it does show absolutely perfect curve. But anyway, the reason, let's just look briefly, the reason. So let's look at these pictures he's got here, right? So we've got the I don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. That's just an aircraft. So obviously they're using a wide angle lens to get the whole image of the aircraft in. It's clearly distorted. Everybody knows that. The one below, I'm not sure what that's from. The one to the right of that, I'm not sure what that's from. And then you have the Felix Baumgartner jump from space, which obviously used a wide angle lens so that you could see everything. It's just obvious, because here's the thing. The videos or the images that you're showing us right now, the purpose of those images is not to prove one way or the other whether the Earth is flat or a globe or a triangle. The purpose of those videos and those images is to see what's happening. They're designed to be wide angle, and obviously there's going to be distortion. These aren't scientific photographs used for proving the shape of the Earth. This is a common thing that flat earthers do. They're like, I can't even recreate his voice without falling asleep, but basically he's trying to suggest that these are used to prove that the Earth is a globe when they absolutely are not. Let's move on.
Or a curved commercial airplane window.
Curved commercial airplane window. You wouldn't expect to see a whole lot of curve from a commercial airplane window. So, and again, an airplane is not a scientific instrument used for measuring the curvature of the Earth. The windows are there to look out of. There you go.
It is also a fact that the horizon always rises to the eye level of the observer as
That's been debunked so many times. That is absolutely untrue. The size of a human and the height of a human versus the size of the Earth may give you that impression, but there's plenty of ways. I'm not going to go into it right now. And I can go into it in more detail if people want me to. But anyway.
Altitude is gained, so you never have to look down to see it. If the Earth were in fact a globe, no matter how large, as you ascended, the horizon would stay fixed, and the observer would have to tilt looking down further and further to see it.
That would only be the case if you were going up to an enormous altitude. How high the average human being can go in an aircraft or soon, in a spacecraft or whatever, that'll determine what amount of drop-off you'll actually see from the angle you're at. If you're in a commercial airliner, you're simply just not up high enough to see any major difference. So that's just a fact. The Earth is huge. It's huge. Anyway.
It's a fact, not a theory, that we are able to observe objects at incredibly long distances, far beyond what would be possible if Earth were a globe 25,000 miles in circumference, as we're told. For example, it is a fact that in Genoa, Italy, from just above
Genoa,
on clear days, it is possible to see the distant islands of Elba, Gorgona, Caprea.
Can you see that every day? Can you see it every single day? Can you see it using thermal cameras, even if there's cloud in the way? No, you can't. There's reasons why you can see these things. There's atmospheric phenomena that causes these things to happen. We all know this. You can recreate it. All you need is a curved surface, liquid nitrogen, and put something behind that curved surface, pour the liquid nitrogen on top of the curved surface, and you will then see that thing appear to rise. You're seeing the image of it reflected through that atmosphere. You're not seeing the actual thing. He knows this. Don't be fooled. He knows this. He's just... Anyway, let's move on. Sorry. I don't want to overdo each thing because he talks so much shit in this.
80 to 125 miles away. It is a necessary theory.
Oh, that island is floating, is it? Oh my god. Anyway... No, let's just move on.
That the globe Earth must curve 8 inches per mile squared if it really be a ball 25,000 miles in circumference. But based on such a theory, these islands would all be completely hidden behind thousands of feet of curved Earth. In fact, the record-breaking longest distance zoom photograph ever taken recently showed Pic Gaspard from Pic de Finestrelles, a whopping 275 miles away.
How high up were they? What were the atmospheric conditions? What device was used? How much of that other peak could they see? Could they see the whole thing? I'm going to guess not, but of course he's never going to provide that information. He's going to go, look at this enormous distance that they took this photograph of with absolutely no background information. Nothing whatsoever, just the distance. But you're giving us no other information.
At a height of under 10,000
Oh, well, there we go.
where, based on correct curvature calculations, the entire mountain should be invisible behind several miles of curved Earth. It is an observable, testable, repeatable scientific fact of reality that Polaris, the North Pole star, situated perfectly over the North Pole center of Earth, never moves a single inch.
Not true. Polaris is different now to what it used to be. Not to mention the amount of time that would have to pass before any of these stars would move in any significant amount is astronomical, if you'll excuse the pun. They're very, 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 very far away.
Night after night, year after year, century after century, with all the other fixed stars remaining fixed in their relative constellations, revolving perfect circles around Polaris. It is an unobservable, unproven, unscientific theory to claim that thousands of years ago Polaris mysteriously did move, and Thuban or other stars became the center of rotation.
No, that's not what the theory is at all. It's just simply that different stars move into different positions. The stars themselves aren't necessarily moving in that regard. It's not like one day a star just came along and went, fucking get out of the way, and took over for Polaris, and then went back to Polaris. That's not what the claim is at all.
It is also an unobservable, unscientific theory to claim that the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles per hour.
Oh, here we go again. The Earth does not spin at 1,000 miles per hour. You don't spin in miles per hour. This is another tactic used by flat Earth priests like this guy over here. Oh, look, it's 1,000 miles per hour. It's one revolution per day. One revolution in a whole day. That's not very exciting, is it? If you went to, I don't know, like a fair and there was a roundy fucking thing and you jumped on it and it was going around at one revolution per day, you would want your money back. They use these big numbers to try to make it sound like it's crazy exciting and, unfeasible or whatever. It's just the same old tactics, guys.
Axis, while rotating tens of thousands of miles per hour around the sun.
Again, miles per hour. You don't, like, that is a misnomer. You don't rotate in miles per hour. It's revolutions per minute, per second, radians, revolutions per day, etc.
The solar system circles hundreds of thousands of miles per hour around the Milky Way, and the Milky Way shoots millions of miles per hour more off through infinite space, when we cannot see, hear, feel, or otherwise observe or prove any such.
This guy actually seriously expects that in this scenario you would feel the movement. These people, again, I want to make this very clear, right? This guy, I don't know what happened here. We'll get back to this in just a second. But this guy here, he knows full well what he's talking about. This guy knows that all of this stuff he's saying is nonsense. This is his cash cow. He has all of these flat earthers, sending him money, buying his t-shirts, whatever the case may be. That's what he's here for. So of course he's going to use all these big numbers. He knows this stuff is nonsense. This is why he won't debate anybody, because he knows he's wrong. He is an absolute shill. This guy is completely fake. And how anybody falls for it. What is it they say? Fools and their money are soon parted. Anyway, let me find... I've lost now where I was in this unbelievably hilarious video. This might be a long one, folks. I mean, here we go.
Or prove any such motion. And we can see clearly for ourselves Polaris never moving and all the other stars revolving around it. Not only that, but such circular star trails.
Again, the conservation of momentum is the thing. You can prove this. We are human beings, and every other object on the planet Earth are within a certain atmosphere. So when, we move through the atmosphere, we feel the wind on our face, or, if you have a car stopped like this and there's items on top of it and the car suddenly jerks forward, obviously those items are going to stop and fall off the back of it. If you're driving along at high speed and you have somebody on the roof and you slam on the brake, that person is going to go flying because of conservation of momentum. They are conserving that momentum that your vehicle put into them. Just because the car stops dead doesn't mean the person's going to stop. No, they're going to keep going. Anyway.
Around an unmoving pole star prove that it is the stars themselves moving and not the Earth. If the Earth were truly a tilting, wobbling, spinning space ball, undergoing these multiple contradictory motions through the universe, you would only see irregular, spiral-shaped star trails.
That's absolute nonsense. Stellar parallax is a thing. He knows this. Again, and this is what I want to point out for anybody who's watching this who would happen to be a flat earther. I want you to realize that he knows all of this stuff that I'm saying, and he knows it probably in a lot more detail than I do. But this is his grift, using all of these big words and all these big terms to confuse people who, let's face it, this stuff is very technical stuff. So the average Joe isn't going to understand a lot of this stuff. This is his grift, this is his game, and this is what he does. Don't fall for it. Go through each one of these things that he's pointing out to you if you happen to be a flat earther, and go research, as they love to say, research it for yourself. Go try to figure out all of these things and realize the amount of lies that would need to be told for all of these things that he's saying is to be true. In fact, for even one of these things to be true, the amount of lies, the depth of this conspiracy is astronomical. Anyway.
And the night sky would never be the same twice. It would be impossible for constellations to exist whatsoever if Earth were truly undergoing these various theoretical motions.
He knows that's not true. You all know that's not true. But anyway.
And those are just a few of the countless, observable, testable, repeatable, scientific facts of our level, motionless plain Earth that have been marginalized, suppressed, and ridiculed for centuries in favor of various unobservable,
What's the problem with that? Different cameras, different angles, different zooms. Some use film, some don't. Some use color correction, some don't. Obviously, they need to make pictures visually appealing. Sometimes they're just not visually appealing and they change them to look that way. You can go to NASA's website or Himawari and you can just see constant live photos. So, you know, these are just what's released, and that's fine. You yourself can go and look at these things. You don't have to rely on NASA or anybody else.
Theories purporting we live on a tilting, wobbling, spinning ball.
Again, you take a photograph with your iPhone and then take a photograph with, 20-year-old film camera. You're going to get different colors, but it's still you, right? You're going to get different grain, you're going to get different, everything's going to be different. The lens could be slightly different, a whole host of things. And again, color correction and stuff for consumer market, obviously that's going to happen. I mean, goes without saying. But again, go to NASA, you'll see thousands and thousands and thousands of photographs of the Earth. Not to mention, again, the Himawari 8 constantly, every 10 minutes there's a new updated photo.
The Earth is not a globe, as
True.
You have come to know it, but is in fact a flat disc-like shape.
Absolutely true. Of course it is. It's a big pizza.
Kind of a lot like this. Yeah. It suggests that the Earth's land masses lie flat. And to better understand this, let's go all the way back to the Bedford level experiment with Samuel Burley Robotham. So let's go to the chalkboard in the Bedford level experiment. Sir Samuel Burley Robotham. Don't know.
I'm just going to skip past that because I don't want to get, strikes for it. Anyway.
Culture.
All right, let me just this part here I feel is going to be quite interesting. So let's just roll her back here.
History, and for thousands upon thousands of years, cultures across the entire world all believed the Earth was flat. The cosmology of literally every pre-Copernican culture, besides a few ancient Greek philosophers, described a stationary plane Earth.
Interesting. You know what else people believed back then? They also believed that you could beat witches out of people, or you could beat spirits out of people. They also believed in bloodletting. They also believed that bacteria was spread through smell. What else did they believe? They believed that, for example, if you didn't cut the heart out of a living man in I can't remember, was it Inca or Aztec? Anyway, if you didn't cut the heart out of a living man every day, that the sun wouldn't rise. Some cultures believed that the sun was a god, etc., etc. With all due respect to these ancient cultures, who cares? They've been wrong about so much for millennia, and that's normal. We were wrong about so many things. I'm sure there's still things today that we're wrong about. Things that people were wrong about 100 years ago that we wouldn't believe they did today, especially in the area of medicine. Some of the things they did and some of the medications they gave people were unbelievable. Anyway, let's continue. I love this argument because it's so silly. Oh, they all said it, so it must be true. But I thought the Bible was the one true text. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's have a look.
And not a spinning ball.
What he did is he started...
Again, I'm not going to look at the stuff from them because the BuzzFeed stuff is guaranteed strike material.
Anyway. Samuel Rowbotham was already well aware that Earth was flat and motionless. His Bedford-level experiments, there were many actually, were designed to demonstrate this fact. He conducted several experiments using telescopes, spirit levels, and theodolites, special precision instruments used for measuring angles in horizontal and vertical planes. By positioning them at equal heights, aimed at each other successively, he proved over and over the Earth to be perfectly flat for miles without a single inch of curvature. Rowbotham's findings, beginning with his 1864 book, Earth Not a Globe.
Hold on a second. Okay, how about this? How about we make this quite simple? Let's just repeat it. Let's just repeat the experiment then. You and me, Dubay, let's do it. Let's go out to the salt flats, wherever you want to go. Let's repeat this experiment and see what happens with modern equipment. Let's see what happens.
An experimental inquiry into the true figure of the Earth, proving it a plane without axial or orbital motion and the only material world in the universe, caused quite a stir in the scientific community, and thanks to 3 decades of his efforts and those of his colleagues in the Universal Zetetic Society, the shape of the Earth became a hot topic of debate around the turn of the 19th century.
And this is where people kind of hit the wall on the flat Earth thing. Where's the edge?
This is going to be good when he finally gets to this. I'm just going to skip. You can see all this on my Flat Earth Pizza video, by the way.
Surrounds the Earth.
It is a fact, not a belief, that if you travel southwards from anywhere on Earth, keeping the pole star exactly 180 degrees to your back, you will arrive in Antarctica.
Welcome to the globe, my friend.
The vast majority of Antarctica's coastline is raised significantly above the water level.
Yeah, because they're ice sheets. What do you expect?
Usually around 100 to 200 feet. Thus why it is sometimes referred to as an ice wall.
And keeps...
Because it literally is an ice wall. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you there. If you go to Antarctica, it's just big, massive sheets of ice. Nobody's arguing that. It doesn't mean it's going all the way around a flat planet, anyway.
The water in between the ice mass, just like this. Look at that. These are the principles of the Flat Earth Society. Honestly, seeing it...
Flat Earth Society, I love that.
Like this, it's not so crazy.
You joke, but this model of contained...
You joke!
level water is actually a legitimate demonstration of our objective reality. Ball that Play-Doh up into a spherical Earth and pour that water on.
Yeah, but you see, here's the problem with that, buddy. If you were to ball that Play-Doh up... Do I have a ball here? I don't have one here. If you have a ball and you pour water on it, what's going to happen? Yeah, some of the water will stick because of, surface tension or whatever, but most of it will fall on the ground, right? Why? Because there is a whole planet beneath you. So you cannot do that on our planet because the effect of the gravity of our planet is stronger, and stick with me here, than a basketball.
Now which one is the joke?
This guy's LARPing, man. There's no way this guy can be serious.
Ballers will retort that gravity magically causes water to stick to and curve around such balls. But try as they might, they cannot reproduce this claim on a scalable model.
Again, because there's a planet beneath our feet.
So we just have to trust them.
We understand the ice walls, we got all that figured.
I gotta skip past the BuzzFeed stuff again, because I tried that before and I ended up getting a strike, so...
Changing in altitude, but by the sun's changing its position and speed. Each year the sun begins its journey at the Tropic of Capricorn at the winter solstice, where it makes its fastest and largest circle over the Earth. For the next 3 months, every day, the sun slightly narrows its path and slows its...
But what's driving this magical sun to, shoot around the Earth and then move in and out? What's causing that? You can't demonstrate anything that can make that happen. Nothing. We can. It's extremely simple. Axial tilt and the Earth spinning. It's quite simple. On your model, you have to make up this magic in and out movement of the sun. You still can't account for gravity, not to mention a whole load of other stuff. So what causes this sun to move in and out between the different positions? How can, again, I know this is like flogging a dead horse here, but how come we can't see the sun in the southern hemisphere when it's sunny in the northern hemisphere? You can't explain any of these things. It's just arbitrary. Everything's arbitrary in this. It's like, well, this must be how it is, so that's how it is. Well done.
Speed, until by the spring equinox, the sun has spiraled its way from the Tropic of Capricorn to the equator. Then, for the next 3 months again, every day, the sun continues to slightly narrow its path and slow its speed until the summer solstice.
What slows it down? What speeds it up? What makes it go in and out? I'm sure people out there who are way smarter than me, I'd love to have MC Toon's view on this. People who are way smarter than me could break this down a lot better, but even just for a dumbass like me, this doesn't work.
When the sun makes its smallest, slowest circle around the Tropic of Cancer. Once the sun reaches this innermost circle, like the ribbons and dancers around a maypole,
magic happens and then it goes back out, let me guess.
the sun then begins its opposing, widening, quickening journey back to the Tropic of Capricorn. For the next 3 months,
It's so convenient.
every day the sun slightly widens its path and hastens its speed until the autumnal equinox. The sun...
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me just get something straight here. So when it's up here in the northern hemisphere, right? And we have no sunlight essentially in Antarctica. So does that mean that there's also essentially no sunlight whatsoever in South America, mostly in South America? Reduced, of course, because of axial tilt, but it would have to be none whatsoever based on this model. And constant sun, mind, in North America, Northern Europe, and North Africa. Constant sun. It would have to be based on this model. Otherwise, it's completely arbitrary. You can't account for why it's bright in Antarctica or completely dark in Antarctica all year round. For the whole of Antarctica, by the way.
spiraled its way from the Tropic of Cancer back to the equator. Then, for the next 3 months, again, every day, the sun continues to slightly widen its path and hasten its speed until the winter solstice, when the sun...
All magic.
True. Literally no flat earther in history ever believed or even presented this ridiculous theory until it was included on the farcical, satirical, controlled opposition Flat Earth Society
Controlled opposition, my ass. It was a joke.
website in the early 2000s. I have not found a single flat earther outside of the Flat Earth Society who believes or promotes that misinformation. And the thousands of flat earthers on my channel will back...
Nobody
Flat Earth
cares.
Society.
Nobody cares.
Once again, this deep researcher references the single website on the very top result of every...
It's clearly a joke. Flat earthers have no sense of humor. Oh my god. It's like when I call Nathan Thompson the leader of the Flat Earth Society. It is clearly a joke. Like, there's... I mean, even flat earthers know that, right? Like, him saying the Flat Earth Society is clearly a piss take. Everybody knows that. This guy, Dubay, knows that.
Google Flat Earth search.
Oh, man.
The Flat Earth Society, a farcical, satirical site which is constantly exposed and debunked by genuine flat earthers, including the original, actual Society of Flat Earthers, known as the Universal Zetetic Society, and its successor, the International Flat Earth Research Society. BuzzFeed, of course, doesn't bother researching or mentioning these groups, and
Why would they? It's a complete waste of time. Anyway, lads and lassies, that's roughly the end of the video. Look, we could deep dive into breaking down all of the scientific issues with this video. We could do that for days, and it's just going to fall on deaf ears. Eric Dubay is not a flat earther. I hope everybody realizes that. He is a complete grifter. Like most of these guys, most of the prominent flat earthers, they're grifters. And if you are a new flat earther watching this video, please get in contact. I'll happily share with you an abundance of evidence to the contrary. Anyway, lads and lassies, I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for dropping by. You have a wonderful day, and we'll catch you for the next one.